2 months ago?
Well, last year, this time, probably twice, maybe 3 times. Last year was a bit unusual. We had a pretty busy winter, but now this year started off. March was almost early summer temperatures in Alabama, for the entire month. So we worked some then, which we would normally be kind of slow, but yeah, at least half. And but I'm blessed because I can go make, if someone was to call me, I could probably go make $50 or $60 to have gas or to buy groceries or something. Where there's so many people that don't have an opportunity to do anything because of their jobs, and that's just sad to me to watch so many people that are desperately on the line. And the depression that could come with that has just got to be astronomical. It's hard to even comprehend.
No, it really is. And, you hear about, there's so many different people involved here. And I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Well, I appreciate you taking my call. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. We're watching, we were talking to Ray Tanner a minute ago, and as we were talking, one major university has announced it will be open for business this fall. The president of the University of Oregon, Dr. Michael Scheel, announced that they will be open for in-person, on-campus instruction in the fall, obviously coordinating with healthcare officials. But that's I've seen other campuses say that, but this was fairly emphatic. And especially from out west, where there have been some doubts about whether they would or would not be around. Also, Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, who's been very outspoken, told an interviewer today in The Athletic that one of the models that they are currently looking at involves a split season, meaning start in the fall and finishing the spring, which would be one of the most bizarre things I have ever heard. But you will hear everything if you listen long enough. Back with one more hour.
Every home has things it needs, things that need to be maintained, fixed, or replaced. The Home Depot is here to help you get it done. You can easily find what you need on our app, order it online with the push of a button, and have it brought to your door with free delivery on over 1 million items. We have the essentials you need, the online know-how you may need to do it yourself, and low prices that make it all possible. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, get your head in the game. This ain't no exhibition match. This is for real. You've got a house to insure, and there are no excuses because Progressive's Home Quote Explorer makes it easier than ever to get the coverage you need. Here's some music to get you pumped. Dum chugga 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 meow meow meow. Dum chugga chugga chugga. Feel that confidence? Dum chugga chugga chugga. Did I say stop saving money? No. Dum chugga 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 meow meow meow.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1931, Lou Gehrig hit a home run but is called out for passing a runner. The mistake cost him the AL home run crown. He and Babe Ruth tied for the season. In 1961, the NFL officially recognizes the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Currently, there are 326 members in the NFL Hall of Fame. In 1966, Red Auerbach retires as the Boston Celtics coach. Red Auerbach won 9 championships with the Boston Celtics and won 8 consecutive titles from 1959 to 1966. In 1983, Nolan Ryan becomes a strikeout king, passing Walter Johnson. Ryan was an 8-time All-Star, and his 5,714 career strikeouts is an MLB record by a significant margin. In 1986 NFL Draft, Auburn running back Bo Jackson was the first pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jackson is the only professional athlete in history to be named an All-Star in both baseball and football. And in 2018, Shaquem Griffin is the first one-handed player to be drafted into the NFL for the Seattle Seahawks. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hi, this is Barry Cole of Beret Jewelers. Like Coach Saban and the Bama football team wants to be the best at what they do on and off the field, Beret Jewelers works hard every day to be the best jeweler on the Gulf Coast.
So they have this illusion that they have all these choices. But the fact of the matter is if you want to be good, you really don't have a lot of choices because it takes what it takes. You have to do what you have to do to be successful.
Sometimes the hidden treasure is right in your backyard, and for diamonds and jewelry, it's here at Beret Jewelers. We offer a huge selection of Forever Mark diamonds and engagement rings, Breitling, Tag Heuer, and Omega watches, Pandora, and John Hardy jewelry, along with the finest jewelry craftsmen in the area. We also have 12 months interest-free financing and guaranteed best prices on all of our jewelry and services. Stop by and see me and my staff on 12th Avenue next to Bonefish Grill. I'm Barry Cole with Beret Jewelers, and I want to be your jeweler and roll tide.
Beret Jewelers, proud sponsor of the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi. I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
Well, before I left my campsite, I was putting out my fire, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear showed up and hugged me?
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. He likes it when people correctly put out their campfires. He's pretty big on wildfire prevention. He's just letting you know you did good with a hug. He's a hugger.
I just got a bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update!
All right, I'm going to let you go now. I've got a lot of ranger stuff to do. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
From First Take to your radio.
Zion? 16 games. Okay, how many games do they have left? About 20? 22 games? All right, so he ain't gonna even reach 40 games. Damn it, I mean, this first year in the NBA, which he's getting paid for, it's like a college season at Duke. Give a damn about no back-to-back. You're 19 years old. 19 years old. All right, figure it out.
1 to 2 weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, Sports Call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Well, coming up on the Sports Drive, at least over the next, 2, 3 weeks, 3 years, who knows? We get to break down why everybody's team either is really awesome or really sucks, and none of us know. NFL Draft.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. It's across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Both been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. I'm Chad Brilliante. Yes, still wearing Patriots gear, even though looks like it's going down a dark path real quick. One of those guys that's like living a billionaire life, then ends up in jail, then ends up, I guess, quote, committing suicide. Oh, never mind. Never mind. But when it comes down to, did I say that? Uh-oh. JP, you might want to leave the room. Joining us as well on this this beautiful day. What an amazing day outside. I hope you guys got to get outdoors and enjoy it, social distancing. We got to go see something that most locals might know about, but I did not. If you look at the pictures, it would almost be like Bama Henge. Have you ever heard of it, by the way? The dinosaurs down there?
Indeed.
Got to take Leighton. It was really for me, but took my 4-year-old daughter as well. And Brittany and I got to go down there, see all the different dinosaurs, learn the whole entire story about the Barber family and the billionaires that created it. Pretty much just gave everybody an exhibit, free thing to do, social distancing, as cool as it got out in Alberta. So had some fun and enjoyed a nice weekend with the family. Got to golf, Tiger Point. Trey Childs will be joining us, one of the golf pros out there. Him and Rick do a great job, and our sponsor of our second round of our Greatest Pensacola Athlete Bracket Challenge, and looking forward to breaking down more of that coming up on the show with Trey. Coming up at 5:30, Brent Baird of Lindy Sports will join us to break down more of the NFL draft. A huge one for the SEC. We already know the SEC is going to get a lot of players, but LSU, go Tigers. Edo's got to be happy, but you also got to realize, like, those good moments, 14 players, they'd already broken an LSU team record by the second day. By the end of the third round, they'd already got 10 guys into the NFL, which is more than LSU ever had. The same time, as proud as you are, we root for guys at the next level. The Patrick Queens, the guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But at the same time, you're also going to have to fill in a lot of shoes, especially the Tiger King out there who's in Cincinnati. So it's one of those, like, woohoo, oh, crap, kind of moments at the same time, realizing I hope Miles Brennan, if we play football this year, is pretty solid. JP joining me on the other side here today. We measured it out today, so we are now 7.5 feet. We're a 1.5 in case we get in an argument and I throw something at you with the length. We are keeping the social distancing. And look, with beaches opening this week, and I live right down the road from places like the Bluffs. No ideas, people. But everything going on over there. Cars lined up down the road. Like, people are getting ready for one of those, like, huge concerts in town, like Kenny Chesney's at the Wharf, all the way across the road. So people are out. They're enjoying it again. And if you're social distancing, if you're keeping your your distance, just look at the numbers from when Georgia opened back up this week. They're fine. So I'm not going to get into it. We use facts, numbers on here. I'm not one of these guys trolling anyone on the internet. But right now, I think it's a positive thing. We're moving forward to get the economy back as long as we do certain things at certain times and be aware of our surroundings and the people, the elderly, and the people that are sick that could get this as well, and be also extremely vulnerable to it. You can get it. Don't need to break this down anymore, but the ones that it's very serious for. Joining me over here, JP, what's happening, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Can somebody give Quentin Randolph a job?
I don't get it.
This is unbelievable. This is a guy that with UWF, if you don't know who Quentin Randolph is, shame on you around here. Yeah. He's a national champion.
He is a
with our
national
UWF
champion.
Argos.
He's part of 2 national title games.
He also had 1,200 yards this year with a group of receivers. It wasn't like he was the only guy out there. If he was the only guy, it would have been a lot higher than that. But nonetheless, 12 touchdowns, over 1,200 yards. This is a guy that averaged 20 yards a catch, would go up over people to get the football. I mean, this is a guy, a Navarre product, of course, here locally for us. We love him, as with all the guys. But it's just, this is crazy that, seeing all these undrafted free agents that are going on right now, that are getting signed. Division II guys. If people want to say, well, he's not the Division I guy, that's fine. That's a fair argument. But what about the Division II guys that are getting signed? Wide receivers out of West Georgia, and no offense to any of these other guys. What I'm trying to get at, the point in all this, is this guy was as clutch as it come. And he's not just a guy that just showed up randomly on the radar out of nowhere in the national championship game. He's been doing this his entire career. I mean, and finally, this is something he's worked so hard for, and guys struggle. I mean, to say that, well, he's not getting noticed because he's down here in Pensacola, that's bull, because some of these guys, like I said, at West Georgia and all these other schools in Division II, when we talk about the Gulf South Conference, this guy's a national champion, so don't tell me that he's not getting noticed.
The guy who he kicked his tail in for Lenore Ryan to go to a national title game got drafted number 1 by Bill Belichick, was the first pick taken by the Pats.
Congratulations, by the way.
So if people don't, Division II, guys like Danny Woodhead, well, that's not a proven model system by the Pats, who took him number 1. So Quentin Randolph has the type of stats, and he's worth the play. And you know what? Guys like that, though, have more of a chip on their shoulder when they finally get the shot. I was watching a video today. I posted a video of Jim Nantz, who, a tradition unlike any other, the Masters. And a guy that, when it comes down to broadcasters today, he's sort of taken over the realm for, to me, what Bob Costas was. Sort of a multi-talent. You could go from doing those trampoline events in the middle of the Olympics to the next thing you know, doing the Masters and then the NBA Finals and the NHL playoffs. Some people we know, the Doc Emirates are NHL. The Al Michaels can do a lot, but Collinsworth, guys like that, Troy Aikman, NFL. Jim Nantz does it all. But Jim Nantz in 1985 was doing a interview around the hot tub with the Utah Jazz, and one of the guys just pulls him in, and he's like, probably had some kind of electronics on him. Could have got electrocuted to death. Nobody cared at that time. He's like, for W something TV, I'm back here. And, obviously he probably got up. He's like, is this my life? Is this where I'm headed? Didn't interview, and they thought so much of me. Because think about that today. If it was one of these backup power forwards too. It wasn't even a Hornacek or Stockton or any of those guys. No mailman. But imagine today if you grab Jim Nantz in the cool suit with the CBS logo, lapel right there on the jacket, and pulled him in, probably get bodyguards and lawsuits against CBS. Things change real quickly. But any of us in the broadcasting business have done games and done things that we're not proud of if you're in this business, and you know that for a fact. I've been to many places I like to call the 3 Bs. Bingo, beer drinking, and bull riding. And if you're lucky, you get a Bass Pro Shop. In the middle of Salina, Kansas, calling championships, did a Polish volleyball game in Toledo, and I'm not happy about that. Owens Community College, but it was a nice place. Nice community family. Stayed at one of those places with the mint on the pillow. Not right. Not actually true. I had to go buy the mint. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was a mint. It was like, oh, look at this chocolate bar right here.
So you woke up in the back of a van somewhere.
The joke was on me. But the NFL draft is one that I think we realize that a lot of these guys like Quentin Randolph, they'll eventually, if they work hard enough, they can prove their point. And wide receiver is one of those positions too that if you find a way to break through, it doesn't matter where you went to school. Because think about it. Who are the best names that we hear of? Think about it. I mean, without saying anything, you name a few of the best, and I'll say the colleges. But who are some of the best receivers you've seen in the game?
Today?
I'm just proving my point. No. Throughout the history. More to go back throughout your lifetime.
You start with Jerry Rice.
Okay, yep. Mississippi. He went to, it was Mississippi Valley State. Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
Tennessee Chattanooga. John Stallworth. Alabama State. I mean, it doesn't always matter where you're from. And even the guys like Larry Fitzgerald, Pittsburgh doesn't jump out at you like some of the other colleges. Think about guys like Demarius Randall and Calvin Johnson. They went to an option school. Coach Dave Wilson recruited him. He sits right here. Part of Studer 55 and what they do. So getting an opportunity is the biggest opportunity. Victor Cruz from UMass, what he did during the preseason, if you get your shots, you have a chance. And I know he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's a nice guy, and we wish him the best. Navarre's own and a shot to make it. 850-623-1330 is the number. Happy 48th, Dan Mullen, by the way.
Thank you.
Fun fact, by the way. It's true. Sounds like something I make up, but he did win a chicken wing eating contest when he was in Stark Vegas. 48 wings in 10 minutes. That's a lot. These were hot wings, too. I checked on it because that makes a big part in it. How many times you have to go back to drinks? I don't think they were like the one of those Firehouse subs with like the plus on the 10. Don't go to there. If you think you're cool and you're showing off, don't go to the plus. It's like going to Tijuana Flats with if it's a frowny face, that's how you're going to feel. There's no Imodium or Pepto-Bismol that's going to make that frowny face turn around for you and your family the next couple days. So I want to warn people from experience. Don't go down that path. But for Dan Mullen, 48th birthday. Pretty good. He's not jumping on back of sharks. He's not asking what a Padawan's doing. He's just Playing it nice and easy.
He had a good draft, too. Some of his players going. I mean, it's a upside for him. 48, though.
Well, they have 7. I think Florida had 7,
yeah.
Your Ducks had 4. I can't say anything these days. UCF had 1. It's 1 more than Ole Miss.
That was the Gabriel Davis guy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 1 more than Ole Miss. That's how I sort of say, like, how was your draft? 1 more than a team that was pretty high ranked in Ole Miss at one point. Yeah. What? Well, how many got? We had 1. But, it was LSU dominated this draft. What was the biggest thing that stood out in this draft? Besides Roger Goodell, after about pick 17, did not give 2 flying hoots about being there. You could tell at that point.
I like that, by the way.
I liked seeing. I actually thought at first you could tell he was completely scripted at first. When he would look at a board of videotaped, if you didn't get it by like the second pick, and they even blacked out Jacksonville's fans, which was hilarious. But the fans on the backboard were clearly recorded. This wasn't like a live Zoom conference. And he's like, come on, guys, let's get into it. I want to hear a little more noise. Be like, Roger, you're getting whatever noise was recorded. You're not going to get them. But nobody was buying it. It's like an episode of Sesame Street. And then he started to not care. He started to grab the M&Ms. He started to make jokes. Trey Wingo started to lose it, too. Did you hear that? Santa Cruz, he's like, yeah, a lot of kids smoke weed around there. All right, let's go to the next pick. And you're like, all right, Trey, let's just flat out come out and say it. Looks like you've aged about 40 years on the couch. But Santa Cruz, California, bro. Coming through.
The Green Bay Packers giving the old middle finger to Aaron Rodgers. How about
that was probably
not only do you draft his replacement, and you can say, well, down the road, whatever, that's fine. I moved beyond that. Okay, you've got a chance to go get him some help in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds. Running back, tight end, then linebacker, tackle, offensive line, DB, and edge rusher. Hey, where's the wide receivers? And then they come out and say, well, we like the receivers we have on our team now. Are you kidding me? Jake Kumaro? Well, I know you got Devontae Adams.
We're finally learning how to spell Vontez Scanling.
Is he still on the roster?
I don't know.
I'm fixing to look. I
you know
think
that
he's
the Bears, Jimmy Graham's gone. He's with the Bears.
Thank goodness. That's a blessing.
Cole Kmet. And Jimmy Graham, man. Woof.
Cole Kmet.
Man, in a slam dunk contest between NFL pros, got a shot. If they score, they can dunk it over the hoop, over that post. Listen, get that 15. Is it still a 15-yarder for doing that? Haven't they backed up on that? Probably still.
Scantling
shouldn't you go all out if you're going to do that, though? If you're going to get it, shouldn't you hang on it and try to take it down? Like, just keep swinging.
Might as well. Your money's worth.
Get the whole team. Your offense. You get a stool out there. You get the whole team swinging on the field goal post. Like, well, get him off of here. But he's that was complete disrespect. I mean, that one wins it. You can say what you want about the pictures during the draft of things like Mike Vrabel. Some guy taking a deuce behind him, and his kid who was even outshining that guy with a mullet.
It changed the next day, obviously, if you saw that.
They looked like a Harlem Shake video, but the after in the before, too. You know what I'm saying? Da-na-na-na-na. They're not even like trying to like that. When it says do the Harlem, that's when they all come out. Like they were already in that mood.
They were set.
We don't want to know what would have happened if they would have gone to the next level. Da-na-na-na. If they would have got 50 people pop out of the house. But the guy in the back was overshadowed by the guy dressed like some super character that looked like he had been quarantined and gained 20 pounds. And then you had his son, who was in a mullet, behind him.
Love his son.
I mean, and no offense, you can dress what you want. And that guy looked like he was nasty. He looked like the kind of guy that he had that old man strength that would just take you out, and his size from his dad. Pops was great. He's one of my favorite players ever for the Pats. Did it all. He's more receiving touchdowns right now in the Super Bowl than 9 receivers in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So, Mike Vrabel, you're the man. But I do have to say, that was pretty crazy. There was a couple other times where some of the households didn't make any sense. But I think overall, the Jordan Love situation. And in a way, people out there, for your next meme, you do know now we have A-Rod and J-Lo on the same team. You are aware, right? A-Rod and J-Lo will be hanging out on the sidelines. But this might not be a match made in heaven here. But A-Rod and J-Lo are just going to have their fun this year. And, it's all coming. The pieces are coming together to have football, too. All of this, at one point, it was exciting. But now you're really starting to feel the flow. Things are starting to happen. People are realizing it. I spent 50 minutes, yes, 50 minutes of my time, which you know for me, spending about 3 minutes on anything reading, but a 50-minute video, not from some cheesehead that was sitting there trying to talk about it, but actually somebody talking about the coronavirus that were doctors that worked right there at the foreground of everything. They'd been to New York, came back, and these were doctors, scientists, everybody across the board. This wasn't the people that you go, just ask Dr. Fauci. And they pretty much said the numbers right now across the board, yes. Are people getting it? Absolutely. But it really reverts back to the fact that 0.003 of the cases around a lot of the United States was life-threatening. And that's what we were saying. But I'm not getting involved in that side. I'm just knowing that people were reopening things outside. People need to be respectful still. Don't go in large groups and have parties the second it opens. Don't be stupid about it. But overall, I'm glad to see people getting back outside and living life. It's good to see that for small businesses. When you see stories like the LA Lakers gave back $4.6 million, and you get some of those hand clap emojis today. But even a bigger part of that story is the LA Lakers got a $4.6 million small business loan. So for all those people out there that, and I know a ton of business owners in this area that didn't get a dime, not one penny, but the Lakers, because it has to be under 500, is a small business, and they get $4.6 million. So it made me start to research, which is a scary thing when you start looking up those facts in this country. It's very, very, get called fake news even if you look up the numbers. But $373 million is how much money in major sports went to small business claims. And the Lakers are making a story for giving that money back, but a lot of them aren't today. And you know what? I don't blame them. It's like John Calipari. Everybody wants to blame John Calipari for the one and done. Cal, Coach Cal, taking advantage of it. You know who to blame? The people that are allowing them to take advantage of it. Because if the NCAA wants to make the right rule, then change the system. John Cal doesn't make the system. He goes along and takes advantage of what's completely legal. So, yes, the Lakers might have taken $4.6 million to start with from businesses that could have used it, and now they're giving it back, which is a good thing. Like what we saw with Ruth's Chris, giving back $20 million on there. It's a good thing. But at the same time, it's the people that are writing those checks when you have hundreds and hundreds of businesses that are going to be shut down and their families are going to be done forever. And we're dealing with a lot in Pensacola. And that one, you get a $4.6 million check to someone like one of these big hardware companies or something that might still be fully packed because they're 500 or less employees. And you see people in lines there. It's just disappointing overall. But you know what? It is what it is, and we're moving on. When we come back, we're going to talk some more up and downs from the NFL draft, cash it or smash it, and get to, Jameis Winston. Never thought this team. Last thing you can say is he's been Big Easy in his career, but that's where he's headed. As we're going to talk some Jameis Winston to New Orleans and get to more on the NFL draft, the last dance, and more. You can be part of the show if you want to weigh in, as you did on Friday, with any of your questions on the NFL draft. Give us a call, 850-623-1330. Brent Baird of Lindy Sports will be coming up as well. You're listening to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the small Lyonnaise.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk?
Very funny.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19. JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
JP here with Talk Football and the Sports Drive. At ESPN Pensacola, we're hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion and NFL Hall of Famer Derek Brooks.
The Super Bowl, and they're trying to win it for us. 3rd down, 18. Dropping Gannon, looking Gannon, throws up the middle. It's intercepted at the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 25, 20. Derek Brooks all the way.
This is former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Washington High School alum, Derek Brooks. You listen to ESPN Pensacola.
What'd you do this time, Brad?
I'm in the doghouse after my hunting trip last weekend.
Yeah, I was too. I blew off our date.
How'd you get out of the doghouse?
Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa. I got her a gift card. It took 3 minutes at swmedspa.com. She booked it this Saturday.
Saturday? So 9 holes then?
Tea time's at 8.
To enjoy a hassle-free guys weekend, treat her to a gift card from Stillwater's Day and Medical Spa. Follow Stillwater's on Facebook or Instagram to enter contests and win great prizes. Or visit swmedspa.com.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake. The lob wide open. Touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body that Wilson likes to throw to. Big target. Here's Baldwin. Smaller target. And he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. No, look, when you play with your pops as he gets older, one of the most embarrassing things... My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Chad Brilliante, JP on the other side of the glass. Well, right on the other side here today. Not going to lie to people, we're on TV. Looking at the draft overall, though, let's get to some of the driveys before we get Brent Baird of Lindy Sports on here with NFL Draft Edition of our Drivey Awards of some of the things going on. All right, the most I'm over it moment of the draft. Belichick having his husky dog. Nike make the picks. Roger Goodell kicking back by the late first round, needing some Tums or Imodium with the M&Ms, or Jacob Eason on the couch, and it looked like a sketchy situation with him, his brother, and his girlfriend leaving. Now, I'm not going to judge. I would hope that the family has better issues than that than have people go like Bow Chicka Bow Wow, but that did look a little – there are moments where people go like, you're making more of it, but anytime anything happens, like I have a brother and I have a wife, and we've all hung out in we all have a lot of family together, and we've been in these big condos on the beach and stuff. If he walks out of a room taking his shirt and putting his shirt back on, and she's zipping up things at the same time walking out of a room, regardless of the situation, I'm going to trust him, but it still looks terrible. I mean, there's some moments where it looks horrible. If you are doing a art collage for your kids at school and you have your trunk open of your car and a bunch of people drive by and a police officer drives by and you had what was just one of those art easel cut type of jackets over and you're covered in red and you've got a hatchet in your hand because you just did woodwork in your garage, it's still going to look terrible. There are moments that regardless of what your intent was, it looks bad. That did look bad. What was the most I'm over it moment to you during the draft?
I think, remember, this is the same guy in Jacob Eason that said, as soon as he was drafted, I'm going to compete my nuts off. That's a quote. I'm going to compete my nuts. But I got to go with Belichick and the Husky. Look, that Husky, I think he did make that pick when they picked, Kyle Duggar. But we'll see. I'm just saying that everybody loved it, and then it was one of the biggest laughing stock things. It's so funny because when Belichick came back, Belichick just started petting him like, good pick, good boy.
It's a sweet dog. Sweet pup right there. But I have to say, though, that's all a part of the Patriot way is while he had that dog there, it's the deflect. David Copperfield, David Blaine, you look over here, you look over here while he's out there and he's got microphone mic'd up. Because remember, you got trucks to all the different coordinates. Like they had all the GMs and all ESPN parked trucks out in front of each house. So he's in there listening to all the taps. who's picking 3 picks ahead, yeah, we'd really need to look at this guy. Psst, bingo. Perfect timing right there for him to do it. All right, I would have to agree. That was a classic move, but our picks were not. And I'm hoping and praying Brian Lewerke. Lewerke. At worst, I mean, that's – and are we trying to set a record for more Michigan State quarterbacks that you really never heard of until they get drafted into the NFL at one point? Think about it. How many do we have now? Currently, we have Brian Hoyer, who's it's the Michigan State tandem right there. The Hoyer-Lewerke. Woo! Lewerke and Hoyer, baby, woo! And then you got Drew Stanton somewhere. He might be in the Canadian League by now. But you got Drew Stanton. You got Kirk Cousins. You got Connor Cook. I mean, how many can you fit on one? And none of them ever got to throw the football. I mean,
yes, they shouldn't. Brian Lewerke shouldn't.
You played for the most, even more than Les Miles in that LSU team of we're not going to ever throw in the history of the game in D'Antonio. I mean, it's D'Antonio. So there you go. Let's get to the Gilmore. I called your name, didn't I? A guy that kept falling as a surprise later than people expected. 5th round, Jake Fromm to the Buffalo Bills. 4th rounder, Jacob Eason to the Indianapolis Colts. Was it Jonathan Taylor falling into the mid-second round? Or was it the situation with Quintez Cephas to the 5th round?
Cephas didn't surprise me as much because of the trouble he had got in before.
He's got first-round talent, though.
Yeah, he does, but he's also had some major dark past, too. But Jake Fromm surprises me. Look, Jake Fromm, when he got the call from Buffalo, he thought somebody was spoofing him, and he had to make sure because he couldn't believe Buffalo, of all teams, was calling him. But nonetheless, I got to say Jake Fromm. I think that's a good pickup for Buffalo, too, because, look, you've got a guy, a gunslinger style mentality, and Josh Allen over there, which they like. I think, but Buffalo says they like it because they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, what else are you going to have? Bringing Jake Fromm in there will be good in the locker room, but he's also a guy that could possibly go out there and manage a game for you. I mean, they have some good talent over there. That offense they run is similar to what he did at Georgia. So, but I think Jacob Eason doesn't surprise me as much dropping. I thought Fromm would be drafted before Eason because Eason accuracy is horrible. He has a big arm, but I think everybody knows that guy that has the big arm that can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Well, he's on a perfect team for that. He's got now. He now gets to hang out with Phillip Rivers, who is known for just the T-Rex over the tops. And if he works with them, because Phillip Rivers was never known for his perfect over the middle accuracy. Think about how many Phillip Rivers spread 4 wide quick slants. When's the last time you've heard of a slot receiver really for Phillip Rivers? Think about it. It's usually 4 deep guys over the top. I mean,
or big tight end. That's it.
Exactly. I don't remember the last time they've had a slot receiver. Think about the guys that have worked there and nowhere else. Dontrell Inman, guys like Travis Benjamin's just a speedster downfield. I mean, think about the guys they've had. Keenan Allen would be the closest thing, and he's an everyday kind of guy. He's not a slot at all. They haven't. I mean, they don't. They don't play that style.
True.
But Phillip Rivers is the perfect guy to teach him because what he can do is air one of those deep ones over the top. And if Eason gets going on that, with the speed they've got on the outside, the Campbells and guys like T.Y. Hilton, could be dangerous. But, yeah, I agree. Jacob Eason on that one. New times call for new measures, surprising changes to look at on the rosters after the draft. Is it A, the Bears, Nick Foles throwing to a 2 tight end set with Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet? When somebody's like, well, Mitch Trubisky still – no. After game 1 or game 2, get him out of here. Anyway, next one, Saints, Jameis Winston cheering on Drew Brees from the sidelines. Or choice number 3, Broncos lock in pretty much an entirely new offense with Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, the former tight end, another one of those names that I'm going to just completely butcher here. Aquan Budnam. Albert Aquan Budnam. And right there at the 4th round. And then Tyreek Cleveland, not a bad 7th rounder from Florida right there. So pretty much John Elway was just sitting back like he was playing Madden video games and he had a draft. So I liked it. I mean, KJ Hamler and Jerry Jeudy are 2 immediate starters to go on with Sutton out there. Not a bad play. Brand new offense. A brand new regime. I mean, they pretty much – that is a complete makeover in Denver over the last couple of years.
Well, and you stole Cushenberry. There in the 3rd round, late 3rd round.
The whole Cushenberry family right there. Getting ready for the draft on April 20th on Monday. They were hugging.
This is good. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Drew Locks, but I think it's obviously
You're a big fan
up.
of Cushenberry.
I am.
I
am a big fan of Cushenberry. But Tyreek Cleveland, that was a steal in the 7th round. You know, guys, just the offense, the way they loaded up, they still got some of the defensive guys they needed, but their defense is set right now. It's not bad. So that's where I think, look, I know that they're in the same division as we know who, the team we're not going to speak of because they're still champions. And
no.
But still, this is getting Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. That was the guy that I said from the beginning that this guy's got first-round talent.
It is.
He's not the big receiver that everybody knows. This is a guy that I think will make a big-time splash.
Hey, win a couple picks after Jalen Hurts, right?
No kidding.
I mean, Jalen Hurts was one of those moments that everybody online and everyone's like, you did it, yay, like Philly's soaring high, woohoo. But inside, it really hurts. It was one of those kind that you were sitting there going, yay, like, did we really pick this guy in the second round? I mean, honestly, I wasn't 100% going to the draft if we were going to hear his name on the first 2 days.
Well, he dodged the question basically whenever they were asking him about how the Phillies were going to, or the Eagles were going to use him.
Might as well play for them.
So that's what I mean. But when you look at that, obviously Carson Wentz isn't going anywhere. But Adam Schefter came out and said that teams are leaking that some of them draft quarterbacks where maybe they shouldn't have because they're worried about the coronavirus throughout the season and, their quarterback being taken out or whatever, which I call bull on that. I'm sorry. But nonetheless, I think for Jalen Hurts, it's almost like the elephant in the room. He's going to be used more like a Taysom Hill, but he probably doesn't want that, but it's going to happen. Like, just accept it. That's his best way of making some money right now.
No longer the elephant in the room. He's with Oklahoma.
No longer.
Now with Oklahoma. But let's see how Brent Baird feels. He's always talked about it, but honestly, he's not going to be playing quarterback. And if he is playing quarterback, that's not a good feeling in the NFL.
That's not a good sign.
That's not
a good sign for your team.
I mean, he was much improved, like I said. This is nothing against Jalen Hurts. I wish him the best of luck. He has been nothing but a class act. He's the epitome of when you were the SEC Offensive Player of the Year and you had just a Cushionberry spot right there. Just so
Very
cush.
Cushionberry.
Just plush and Cushionberry right there for Alabama. And then he has to leave because of Tua, which made sense, and he just took it the way that you would expect out of somebody that has...
Not Cushionberry.
No, that is just very respectful. And very amazing. And we wish him the best, but
absolutely.
No, if he's starting for Philadelphia, it's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. When we come back, we're going to talk some college football with Brent Baird of Lindy Sports, and we'll get to more on what's going on from the NFL draft. Jameis Winston getting set to be a New Orleans Saint. Out of all, that's all I have to say. You can't go anywhere after that. Come back for more Sports Drive.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Though we're apart these days, we're sharing more. So, at Geico, we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync star. Now, it's our turn to share with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. Because we're committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for more info and eligibility. Though we're apart these days, we're sharing more. So, at Geico, we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync star. Now, it's our turn to share with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. Because we're committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for more info and eligibility.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
An auto policy from State Farm gets you collision coverage. And this radio ad from State Farm gets you coverage of this beloved 90s hit.
I hit a car. I hit a car. I hit a car. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. My agent's gonna help me.
For more coverage, visit statefarm.com.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
In the club with my homies, trying to get a little VI, keep it down on the low key.
Welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola. 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just might as well call me the spider out here. Like John Sally fight through these cobwebs over here. Well, we got some NFL draft to talk about and college football. Starting to see some good news. Reading stories on Georgia since they've opened up a lot of things. The numbers really not going up at all. Not seeing more people, more cases at the hospital. A lot of good news coming out of there for football in general, and when we're talking about sports right now, about getting sports back out there. Having fans in the stands, that might be a different issue, and hopefully we understand that there's going to be things that we're not going to be able to do. But at the end of the day, I think we all just hope that college football, after watching the NFL draft, that it comes back. And joining us now, somebody that covers football right there. They have a NFL team that even Roger Goodell blacked out on a screen. But he covers college football there with Georgia and Florida and so many other teams, from 1010 XL Radio in Jacksonville, Gator Bait Magazine, the Florida Gator Podcast Show, to First Coast News and more on College Sports Notebook. Brent Baird joining us each and every Monday. Brent, how's it going this evening?
Chad, doing okay. I think one of the better news that we've heard is, and I give Dennis Stott credit for this, he's making a list of schools that plan on having students in class on campus, and so far the list is growing pretty much by the day. He just added Oregon to a list of Iowa State, Purdue, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Washington State, for example. So if we see that continue to grow, that would be certainly good news. I saw that where Michigan State is just going to have online classes, but I mean, it's still way too early to figure this out at this point, but at least that's somewhere where we can start with some positivity.
Brent, it's going to be different in each and every area. What is one of the biggest concerns when it comes to, we know it in the South, college football is always huge. It's huge around the country, but the SEC lives and breathes it every single day. We know this, and this isn't even about wins and losses. It's about culture and life. That's why Birmingham, out of all markets, always has the largest when it comes to college football numbers. And Birmingham's not in the top 10 or even top 20 of largest cities in America, but they always win that. When it comes down to getting football back, we understand places like up in the north and places like Boston or New York, what they're dealing with is completely different than our beaches getting reopened this week. Talk about the difference between how they're going to do it, because autonomy has always been key, but does the NCAA have to make those choices? And can some of these teams from up north realize that they might have to play games a little south?
Yeah, which would be helpful if they did. I think right now what we're seeing would be not only will students need to be on campus in order to play, but I think what we're also seeing is, and some of this is coming from some of the various NCAA committees, in that there's also got to be when can you start? Now, the NCAA Football Oversight Committee suggests a 6-week period before programs can return to play. That still needs to be approved by the COVID-19 advisory panel, but at least they are beginning to look at it. You're also seeing some reports. Bob Bowlesby actually said in a tweet this weekend or today about maybe even if the virus came back, of splitting the season in two, if you can imagine that. Say it came back in October, November, of playing as many as you can in the fall and then finishing up in the spring. The thing here is they've got to play. They've got to play because they've got to have the money. They've got to have the TV money. Now, whether that means fans are in the stands or not remains to be seen, Chad. But at this point, at least we're beginning to see some improvement overall. And again, I think they've got until probably the end of May, the 1st of June. That's when you start drawing the lines in the sand.
You can follow Brent Baird at Brent Baird, BEAIRD on Twitter. Now, Brent, right now, looking at what's been going on in college football, getting ready for the NFL draft, a lot of the SEC players we knew were going to make an immediate impact, as they always do, but this was the largest ever. They set a record. LSU had 14 total, which was the most we've ever seen by actually day 2. Going into Saturday, in just the first 3 rounds, they had broken a team record with 10 guys picked after that national title team. Brent, does it just go to show you that the pool's only getting stronger in the South? And for the people saying, Jim Harbaugh's coming out here, shirtless down there, hanging out at Outbacks at Bradenton, Florida, and doing the things, the SEC is still finding a way to get great athletes in and out of their programs by the numbers that are shown up in the draft.
LSU 14, Bama 9, Florida and Georgia both had 7, Auburn had 6, Mississippi State had 5. Boy, Dan Mullen, who, by the way, today is his birthday, happy 48, can really recruit, can he, Chad? And listen, even South Carolina had 4, so it's not just Alabama and LSU that are putting guys out in the draft. Now, to back up your point, Michigan had 10, Ohio State had 10. Now, but there's a big discrepancy here. Ohio State's winning championships. Michigan's winning nothing. No, Clemson also had 7, by the way, and Utah had a good, strong 7 themselves. So the point is, SEC again reigned supreme. They had a record in 63. Big Ten was second with 48. Pac-12 32, ACC 27. What's different about that is, and we have pretty well followed these numbers for years, is there was a time where the SEC was first and the ACC was second. That is no longer the case. The ACC now down to 4 and the Big Ten moving up. So that's where the numbers have varied this year.
I guess optimistically you could look at and say if you're Lane Kiffin, you get all the players back because nobody got drafted. But, that's for here or there for Ole Miss. But looking right now at what we saw, you just talked about Dan Mullen and his 48th birthday. And I think most people understand after going through what Will Muschamp, what we saw in Jim McElwain, and then the Exit and the Shark DVDs and everything going on. When it came down to Will Muschamp and Jim McElwain, there wasn't writing on the wall that they were getting much better to be in that elite zone that Urban Meyer and the old ball coach had them in. Then you get a guy like a Dan Mullen, and even though they go 10-2 and they lost a couple big games, there showed signs, Kyle Trask, the improvement on the team in general, that they were getting back to that elite status. And they still got a little ways to go, but people are expecting them to be top 10 when the season returns this year. And Brent, I look at the Gators, and where would you put Dan Mullen if you had to rank coaches in the SEC today? Because I sat there, and JP and I have pretty good brains when it comes to this kind of stuff, but after Nick Saban, it is almost impossible to come up with a across-the-board, one of those everybody on the same page, which coaches. Because you could go Jimbo, you could go Coach O, what he did, Dan Mullen. I mean, you still have some Gus Malzahn fans. Kirby Smart's a great recruiter, but he's been doing terrible in game. A guy like Jeremy Pruitt's doing the right thing. But Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach now in the categories. It's so hard after Nick Saban to pick who's number 2. But where would you put Dan Mullen? Is he a top 3, top 4 guy to you?
Yeah, I think he would be. Now, and particularly when you look at what they did and during the time that he was at Mississippi State, I mean, they've had 10 players drafted in the last 2 years, the most in a 2-year span since World War II. So, I mean, that's really impressive with what he's done and the potential that's there. I always go with the guys with rings, and if you won a national championship, that says a lot. I still think Ed Orgeron's going to have to do it again before people give him a whole lot of respect. And Jimbo's got to be able to step it up too. But at this point, Chad, I would go as far as to say I think you've got a lot of Gator fans right now. I think this team could be not just in the top 10, very well in the top 5 with this group that's coming back.
Yeah, Brent, when I look at the Gators and they had a fantastic draft, that's good for Dan Mullen. Like you were talking about, he can recruit. And I think the 3 wide receivers going definitely helps here. LaMichael Pirine gone. When you look at this Gator, now we know, the wide receiver, they have so much depth at that position. We know how good Kyle Pitts is going to be. But when you look at this team coming back, who is a guy, in your opinion, that is most likely you think is going to be the standout guy for the Gators, or is it going to be a couple guys this year?
I think Kyle Trask is going to be one of those in what he can do. I expect that that he will only get better. I still don't think that he has got frankly the publicity and the accolades that he probably needs and probably deserves at this point. You mentioned who I think probably is the better tight end in the league right now. A few minutes ago, and look, I can see this offense playing very well, but with the guys they've got coming back on defense, I could see the same thing. I'm quite excited about where they're going. They had 7 players drafted, more than Miami, Florida State, and Central Florida combined. Boy, that says a lot about the state right now.
Brent, the NFL draft, there's so many guys like we talked about at the SEC. One surprising one, though, that one of the second round, even I think he was surprised, was Jalen Hurts. I mean, all you'd heard was he's got to work on his really mechanics, and he doesn't have the speed of a guy like Lamar Jackson to go early where you could immediately flip him into wide receiver. To me, there's not that, oh, you know what, he could be an Antoine Randall, a Hines Ward, just like that, and everything's fine. What was Philadelphia thinking? I mean, because I'm trying. He's a good guy, and we're rooting him on. So I'm trying to figure out like a positive way to slice this. But really, Philadelphia just wasted a second-round pick to me.
The timing is everything in life, and the thing that you're seeing here right now is that you've got a quarterback in Jalen that is a true dual threat. And with the success that Lamar Jackson and guys like that have had, they think that maybe he could eventually do that. I still think the big bugaboo for Jalen is going to be simply his lack of accuracy, and that has hurt him for quite some time. And that's something that he's got to work on if he's ever going to make it in the league. But yet right now, the thing that he needs is to spend all his time working on that. His legs aren't going to win him that job. But because timing is everything, and you've got different quarterbacks instead of drop back guys that you used to have. But his accuracy will depend on how long he stays in the league. Like Tua's accuracy is probably the best of all the drafted quarterbacks. And if he stays healthy, he'll be in the league a long, long time. Jalen won't, but I give him credit for at least making it there.
Well, and we know that I saw it firsthand when Nick Foles broke out the reverse. Doug Peterson knows how to work some innovative plays in with some guys to win Super Bowl games. So, you know what? Maybe he talked to everybody and made the decision. But I just didn't get it. I thought he would be on the board 4th or 5th round, while guys like Jacob Eason and Jake Fromm, guys like that, are waiting 3 rounds later. But you know what? Good luck, Philly. I'm not like, if you're going to boo Santa Claus, things like that, you can take Jalen in the 2nd round. So, hey, Brent,
Yeah.
I hope everything's going okay. We're opening up the beaches over here, too. We've got Navarre and already Okaloosa County. We're next, coming up here and this week. So I'm pretty excited about it. It looks like everybody's social distancing. They're getting outside in this beautiful weather. I hope everything's safe in Jacksonville, and we'll do it again next week, my friend.
Look forward to it, guys. Take care. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Brent Baird, College Sports Notebook. You can follow him on Twitter at Brent Baird. Does a great job keeping everybody posted on the latest in SEC news, especially with Florida and Georgia right there out of Jacksonville. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Lab TV.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Nick Saban has a message for us regarding the coronavirus.
First of all, I hope this message finds you and your family safe and well. On behalf of our program, we want to give thanks to all the medical professionals and caregivers in our state and across the country in these challenging times. Our daily routines have changed dramatically over these past weeks. As we have said to our team, we share the same message to all of you. Please understand the following guidelines of social distancing. We ask that everyone please wash your hands often. Stay at home if at all possible. And when you have to be out in public, make sure you keep 6 feet between you and the nearest person. We are in this together, and as one team we will get through these difficult times. And together we look forward to all that's to come, like the opportunity to play college football this fall. But the best and safest way to ensure that happens is to listen to the experts, follow their guidelines, and take care of each other. Stay safe and roll Tide.
Locally owned Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Tadalafil, the FDA-approved generic for Cialis, is now here, and the cost savings are huge. Save 80% on the 20 milligram tablets, 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy, 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola, and cash in on the savings today.
Though we're apart these days, we're sharing more. So, at Geico, we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync star. Now, it's our turn to share with the Geico Give Back, a 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. Because we're committed for the long haul, the 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for more info and eligibility.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
Credit a great performance by Garoppolo. And I love the way he throws the football. He's got all the things going for him.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Thanks again to Brent Baird of Lindy Sports, College Sports Notebook, and more for joining us here on the show, breaking down some NFL draft. A good day for the SEC, to say the least, after breaking a record once again. 14 players from LSU, 9 from Alabama, 7 from Georgia and Florida, 6 from Auburn, 5 from Mississippi State, 4 from South Carolina, 2 from Tennessee, Texas A&M 2, Kentucky 2, Missouri 2, Arkansas 2, and 1 from Vanderbilt, none for Ole Miss. And a slide whistle for UCF at 1. Nobody cares. It has nothing to do with the SEC. But I have to say,
Vandy and UCF had the same amount of guys drafted.
Or we had one more than a team that just 3 years ago was in the top 3 with Ole Miss. That's a better way to look at it.
No, it's not. Maybe for you.
UCF had more draft picks than the team that just 2 years ago now is the highest paid offensive tackle in the NFL.
Boom. Is that your
that's how we did.
That's Mike Mullen for the draft.
What happened to Robert Condici? How's he doing, by the way? I mean, he's still wasn't he?
I talked to him last night. He's doing fine.
Is he still in Arizona?
I don't know.
He was.
I don't know.
What a downward spiral off the field on some of the. He never got fully in trouble for everything, but
he's currently a free agent.
Yeah.
So.
But gosh, you want to talk about talent though?
Yeah,
just raw
the
talent.
Highest of the highs,
wow.
To the lowest of the lows.
How quickly that fell. Very disappointing. But looking at the those numbers right there, what's the one that stands out the most? I mean, LSU had the type of season where they went on to win in a fashion that you're never going to see again in college football history, possibly. I was looking at the stats. Jake from State Farm right there, drafted by Buffalo in the 5th round, which could have been the steal of the draft. Even if he doesn't work out, he's going to actually be in a situation where, look, Josh Allen's not solidified for the rest of his career. He's solid.
It's not solidified for the next year.
No, but they've got an incredible defense, and they're going to realize that, the pieces around them, they brought in Diggs, got a couple key pieces. I think it's a solid play. Good backup right there.
I agree. I think it's a guy, though, that, like I said earlier, that literally could step in and play if he has to sometime throughout the season. Listen, I know, and I go back to it, and I'll stand by it. I think that the Bills, they love Josh Allen because of what they risked going to get Josh Allen. It's one of those things, the same thing with Washington. They love Dwayne Haskins so much because of what they did. They don't want to admit maybe we made a mistake. And look, Josh Allen, if you say, oh, yeah, this guy is top 10, you're lying to yourself. Even if you're a Bills fan, I don't care. That guy is giving you nothing but probably a heart attack. I mean, just because of the way he plays. Now, that's the way he's played. I'm not going to get into what I thought when they drafted him, but getting a guy like Jake Fromm for the team that they have right now with Stephon Diggs and even John Brown, this is perfect. Stephon Diggs is now 1, John Brown's the 2. That's where John Brown needs to be. But you have a guy like Devin Singletary. You've got a good offensive line right there. You've got a really good defense. You're playing in that cold weather. I don't think the cold weather helps Jake Fromm much, but I think that he's the perfect guy to go in there and win the game right now in a division that is up for grabs.
Yeah, Josh Allen's the guy who's going to play like Brett Favre. You're just not going to get the accolades or the celebrations in a big game to go with it. Someone's like, well, that's not cool. No, it's not cool. Good luck next year against Houston. We're coming back for more Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gulick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive in the second hour, we're going to get into more on the greatest Pensacola brackets going on. We're now into the second round, getting set to go. We'll talk to Trey Childs coming up on the show as well, as he'll join us from Tiger Point Golf Club out there. Beautiful out in Gulf Breeze. And we'll get into more on the NFL Draft.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin. Derek Brooks cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Both been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin, 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Emma scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante on the other side. JP with us. Blab TV back there in downtown Pensacola, holding it down, having some fun with you. As a week really where, even though there's no sports still, we're starting to lean towards having it. Look, if the beaches are starting to open back up, kids can go down those cool slides at the park, hang out there, play some the basketball nets are getting put back up. We don't have to play one-on-one with Pops just in the back of the yard and play school. Or like the commercial says, I just dunk it right in my daughter's face. She's 4 now, by the way. We got to get that. But I will say, for everybody out there that is ready for sports to get rolling again, we're having some positive type of vibes. So not only did the draft come along, but starting to feel like we can make this happen. Maybe not the crowds of 100,000 plus or one of those MAC games with 100 plus maybe. Bill Hancock's there. But the actual games being played, 30, 40 people down there, it's looking better and better every day. Looking at what's going on in the NFL draft, the last dance, and more. I didn't know Phil Jackson coached in Puerto Rico, by the way.
I want to make this known before I want to say this before the show's over today, so I'm going to say it now. Jameis Winston to the Saints, by the way, he has more completions to the Saints than Taysom Hill does. So Saints fans, if you think that Jameis is not your next quarterback, he's got more than your backup quarterback right now, all right? Jameis has thrown 10 interceptions in 5 games against the Saints. Taysom Hill has 6 completions in 2 years, so let that sink in. He knows how to throw to Saints.
Jameis' whole life, you can pretty much – he has – honestly, I could say Jameis Winston has more polar opposite type styles when it's either we love him or hate him than our current president does right now during COVID-19.
Fair enough.
I mean, look, whatever side of the spectrum. I mean, I saw more Clorox and Lysol things this week, and whatever Como is on CNN. I can't watch CNN. I guess we have the best alpine slopes too here. We got some really good ones, like Level 5 Diamond over on CNN right now. But I will say, watching things on TV, I think Como's wife said that they were taking Clorox baths and stuff like that. It helped her when she got it, and people didn't say a word. And then the second Trump makes a joke, they're like, oh, my God. And you know what?
And they have to come out and say, don't inject yourself.
Exactly. If you're injecting yourself, just like the Tide Pods.
Let it happen.
If you're taking the Tide Pods back in the day, good riddance.
Eat them. Yeah. Eat all, natural selection.
Yeah.
If you
inject
you can't get those
stains, you can't get those stains out of society. Get them out of here. You can't get those stains out. Even the dry cleaners can't help you there. Get them out of here. So at this point, if you're really going down that path, then like you went and got like one of those turkey basers and just like with Clorox at this point in your life.
You're probably not listening to us right now.
You're either doing that or you already did that in shows that look like Breaking Bad. That's all I'm going to say.
True.
You're like, well, I do that on Saturday. I'm doing it with 4. I don't know who these people are sleeping in my house. But I want to say, though, for the people that were talking about the Jameis Winston story, he's like that. You can say, I mean, if I start a sentence, well, the New Orleans Saints now have the best quarterback in the NFL. He led the NFL in passing yards. You could go, well, that's a fact. But then he did. He led the NFL in passing yards. But then you can also look at, well, he had more receptions by far than anyone in the NFL. And Bruce Arians didn't want him. And you brought in another guy after you drafted him number 1 ahead billboards not too long ago. And he couldn't even get an Uber over there to the airport. But I have to say that Jameis Winston is his whole life's been that way. I mean, Tallahassee Police Department and what Megs and everything that was happening in Tallahassee during that case, 79 pages of reading it. Heck, they didn't even know. You still get some lady rapist, and then you have other people like, it's consensual, move on. He shouldn't have been videotaped with 4 people in that room. Looked like something out of the beginning scene of Old School. And then you have the other side that's like, somebody gave him the seafood at Publix. No, it was fun. Everybody does memes on table. It's college, man. Like, everything about his life has been that way. He's not good. He doesn't have the accuracy. But then he wins the Heisman. Then he wins a national title. Goes undefeated. Like, his whole life has been that. Number 1 pick. He's not good enough. But he's still good enough to make a Pro Bowl still, but he's not good enough to make the playoffs. That is Jameis Winston in a nutshell. So, New Orleans, if a city is going to relate to somebody that's had ups and downs in their lives, trials and tribulations, it's New Orleans. He's in a perfect city for that. Just Saints fans really don't look at him as a saint right now, and he's definitely not lived a life of a quote saint. But I will say, though, right now, he's your backup. And he's for sure your backup for the time being. So it can't hurt. That's what I say. We live year by year these days. We live year by year. He's not in a long-term contract, so we don't even know the stipulations of what the deal is going to be yet. But, yes, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. That's a complete shock that it happened out of all the teams. I was thinking Jacksonville, maybe New England, maybe somewhere.
Well, I think if anything, that means, and maybe I'm wrong on this, that Jacksonville is probably the number 1 possibility for Cam Newton now. And if you're Jacksonville, why not? Like, go after this guy.
Because it's Jacksonville. That's how I'd answer that question.
I agree. But when you look at it for Minshew, I understand you like Minshew, but are you willing to be bold enough to let a guy like Cam Newton go? To take a guy like Minshew. That's what I look at it for an organization right now that's trying to keep its head above water, but yet you're 6 feet underwater right now. You can't find the top. They actually had a decent draft. When you look at it, and they have decent pieces there outside of everybody that wants to leave, letting them leave, I guess. But that whole Ngakoue situation's not helping anything, and you still have Leonard Fournette. So there's a possibility. The thing is if you bring a guy like Cam Newton, it can solve a lot of problems internally because now you're telling your team, look, we want to win. We want to win. And when you look at this, Houston, nobody knows what Houston's going to be. When you look at the Titans, they had a horrible draft. You're assuming that they're going to be okay, but they didn't really help themselves a whole lot in the draft. They haven't really helped themselves a whole lot this offseason. Now, if you get Jadeveon Clowney, maybe it changes things a little bit when you talk about the pass rush. But Indy's the team to beat when I look at it. With the way they drafted, the pieces they're getting back. I know Phillip Rivers is still Phillip Rivers, but Phillip Rivers is a tremendous upgrade to what they had. Yeah. And when you look at the running backs, the wide receivers, everything they do in that defense, the best offensive line, for Jacksonville, the thing is they're not too far off, especially with the way they drafted. If they can get a splash guy like Cam Newton, whether you love him or hate him, I have different feelings about him, but he is an upgrade above Minshew. And what I'm saying is it sends a message not only to your team that you want to win, but to your fans, the few of them that are out there somewhere. They have to find them somewhere, but I think there's a couple of them, maybe 3 or 4. But anyway, that you show your fans that, listen, we got this guy. That'll put butts in the seats anyway.
Yeah.
What I'm saying here is like Jameis going to the Saints to me almost solidifies that, okay, well, Cam Newton's surely going to be going to a team like Jacksonville that's looking for a quarterback no matter what they say.
It's not too many teams left right now, but, New England? I wouldn't put it past – what if he ends up in Washington? Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Ron's like, I told him not to. Yeah, comes back, and
Shoo.
Yeah, people are like, I don't want to watch this scenario again go down. Him and Kyle Allen fighting for a job after Haskins' days are gone. But no, I think with this for a Patriot fan, even though I was disgusted, I didn't even get to watch the first day. We've been waiting forever. This is all we get to talk about, and all I had to see was the crap about Bronk and Grady, and just couldn't. You could tell I'm combining names here, but Grady and Bronk. Grady and Bronk, yeah. And I don't even want to give them the right name anymore. But when Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, when they get there and everybody wants to make the Tampa Bay Gronkaneer shirts and everything happening, neon hats, they're at a beach, man, bro, getting ready for Gasparilla. He's going breaking into wrong houses at Derek Cheetah's. Whatever they're doing, I don't care anymore. One thing I'll tell you, though, is that you would expect the Patriots to get a quarterback when one guy's been balding for 10 years, and Brian Hoyer, and then you got the, quote, incumbent in Jarrett Stidham, who did not look good in backup duty. Clean up on aisle 5 when he was with the Jets. That was not good for a couple days. I have to say, though, they didn't go after anybody, but that's also a positive sign. Because to me, we're all in the tank game for either a guy like Trevor Lawrence, or that means that it looks like they're opening up the door from the reports of next year, Mr. Deshaun Watson out there from Houston. And if that's the case, I'm okay. Brian Lewerke out there right now. Make him get out there and we need to let him go to town and for us to win that game.
Couple
for
things.
Next year, not this year. We're just not going to have a good year.
There's a Tampa Bay Gronkaneer brew.
You get a Division II player in our first pick. I'm pretty excited.
Just saying. And then I want you to see this. They are now out. Tampa Bay Gronkaneer shirts.
That looks like my shirt from the closet right there. Did someone put that? That looks exactly what I've been wearing on air, and somebody...
They're out there.
At least somebody did my laundry. I'll take it. Okay, out of all the teams, though, this is going to be an exciting year to see the moves being made because right now there's still a lot of questions out there. A ton of questions after the draft. And I think we're going to see a pretty good offseason. But Jameis Winston to New Orleans, is this cash or smash it? This sets him up to be next year's quarterback, and people hate this, especially today with injuries and everything, but he's the quarterback in waiting in the Big Easy.
I don't think so. I think that Sean Payton has said plenty that for Taysom Hill, and I've gone back and forth on this thinking, because I thought about it the other day, or yesterday, but is Sean Payton does he really mean that whenever he talks about Taysom Hill's their guy? Like, is he trying to keep him around because of what he means to the team?
Taysom Hill's not going to be a quarterback, though.
The thing is, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is something that maybe Taysom Hill has grown. I mean, I look at BYU, he was a 52% passer. But then again, that's not fair to a guy. How many guys have gone and maybe it's a different style quarterback for him, moving on from Drew Brees.
That sounds like the Catholic high school in a small town of like 300 that the guy has to play on both sides of the field.
The thing
like,
is,
I
though,
hope he can be a good.
This is the reason why I believe Taysom Hill is more of the quarterback in waiting than a guy like Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, you look at it, big arm, all this other stuff. Oh, he'd have weapons. He had weapons. Okay, let's look at the weapons he did have. He still threw 30-plus interceptions. This is the Jameis has thrown interceptions. His freshman year, he went 40-10 touchdown to interception ratio. After that, he was 25-18 his sophomore year at FSU. This guy has always been turnover prone outside of his freshman year. The turnovers are going to happen. When I look at a guy like Taysom Hill, they may structure their offense a little bit differently around him. I don't know. I'm not believing in Taysom Hill, but what I'm saying is if you ask me to choose one or the other, of who is going to be, not who I agree with, I think it's going to be Taysom, and I believe it because of what he means to the organization. But I personally think that after this year, they're going to go out there and find somebody anyway to bring in. That way, if the whole Taysom Hill thing doesn't work, they move on. Yeah. I don't think they're going to pay Jameis Winston the money he's going to want to be paid after this year. Because if he settles for a one-year contract, he's going to want to get paid in year 2.
Here's the thing with Jameis Winston. If he truly wants to be, which I think he does in a different type of way. Look, he got married, which is one of these we all take a step back.
He got LASIK.
His wife, he got LASIK, he got married. He
did all this for nothing.
Probably is watching Netflix family shows now, Had to pick 6
I would slow down on that. I don't think he's at that point yet.
I don't know.
He's got a long way.
He's shopping at regular places, and he's not going to getting a quick.
Well, that's because he's not allowed in Publix anymore.
Yeah, that's right. He does. By the way, every place he picks to play is right by the Bayside with good seafood. Like you could see a veto trade for him going to a team like he goes to Dallas. Like, oh no, thank you. Be like, well, what's wrong with that, man? No, it's okay. Well, what's going on? Not a big fan of ranchero and steaks, but I'm sorry. What was that? Just got to play New Orleans, Tampa, yes. Maybe Miami. Yeah, he's got some Sweet Bay right there in those places. But I have to say though, if you're Jameis, he's in that situation where this is the perfect prove it to me point with his career, which means that you can do 2 things. Think about it. You can either say, look, you're not going to get the same money, but we all know Drew Brees more like Tom Brady, which who knows on his kale diet and Giselle how long he's going to go, like Popeye spinach. Talking about the kale part, wink. But Drew Brees is made it pretty clear that he's going to hang out, own his Jimmy John's, do the fun things in the community, be a good family man after this year. Pretty much we're all in agreement from what he said, this is going to be his final season. So Jameis Winston has a chance to learn under one of the greatest of all time. Nice dude that's willing to teach him. He knows New Orleans and the city. He's played against them 2 times per year every single game. He already was in a vicinity in the area when he was in Tallahassee. He grew up in Alabama where people are Saints fans. He knows the culture of being a quarterback in the South and what you can get. He's not going to somewhere where he doesn't know. He's not going to a place like Seattle or going to a place like Buffalo that's out of a Jameis Winston element. So, and he can fit the culture. You know what I'm saying? That's important for a guy like Jameis Goes to Buffalo, people are going to be like, who is this guy coming in? It doesn't fit Jameis Winston. So you get a guy that has a chance right now as a young quarterback to set a path after this season for the next maybe 5 to 10 years. That could be cool. Or he decides I want more money somewhere, and it could be over, or he may never get a shot. So think about it. New Orleans in the last 3 years has the best record in the NFL combined. They've averaged 13-3 over the last 3 seasons in their season per year. So you have a team right now that if everything goes well, he could be, if he wants to be a good quarterback as a backup right now and do the right things off the field next to Bourbon Street, he can go ahead and be something special in the future. It's up to him at this point, though. He's been given
if he grows
more chances
up,
than most cats out there when it comes to 9 Live. So he's still out playing. He's not sitting there like watching R. Kelly wanted to not get corona this week. So, it is what it is. We're coming back for more Sports Drive. We're going to come back with a Gulf Breeze right here. Tiger Point Golf Club is open. Had a chance to see everything, social distance all over the course, and have a chance to talk to Trey Childs when we come back. One of the pros out there. He does a great job as part of our greatest Pensacola brackets. Coming back for more right here on the Sports Drive.
When I started having trouble reading and threading a sewing needle, I went to the ophthalmologist right away. I have AMD, age-related macular degeneration. It's the leading cause of blindness in people over 60. I'm getting treatments now, and my vision is better. I also called the Foundation Fighting Blindness to learn how to prevent and manage AMD. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for helpful information on AMD. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at Nemea. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts, I'm JP. At the 1900 Summer Games in Paris, live pigeon shooting was an actual event. The event actually entailed hundreds of pigeons being released in front of the competitors, who sat back and slaughtered them. I don't think that would fly today. In further proof that they don't make them like they used to, Cleveland Indians pitcher Ray Caldwell recorded a complete game against the Philadelphia A's in 1919. After he was struck by lightning in the middle of the 9th inning, Caldwell shook it off and got the final out for the win. That's your Ridiculous Facts. I'm JP.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number. Flexing on these flexes, every bone and muscle. Steady taking shots, never hurting them.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. You can also check us out on our Facebook page. And right now, we continue our bracket with who's the greatest Pensacola athlete of all time. So many great athletes per capita. The best city of all time, when you all-time leading running back in an Emmitt Smith, a Roy Jones Jr., pound for pound, one of the world's greatest boxers. Bubba Watson, a two-time Masters champion, where he gets a green jacket. A lot of ours are from the thrift store, at least mine is. And guys from Derek Brooks to the fastest man in the world, Justin Gatlin. And joining us, there'll be the host of the second round of Who's the Greatest Pensacola Athlete of All Time, our friends over at Tiger Point Golf Club in Gulf Breeze. It's beautiful. People are social distancing, and they're having some fun out in the golf course. I was out there Saturday. The course is in great shape, and Trey Childs joining us. Trey, we appreciate your time, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, everything is going great. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Trey, first off, talk about it, because everybody's going a little stir-crazy, whether they're single and they're looking for dating apps, or they have a family of 15, or they just have one of those jobs at their house where other people would go to school and then they'd all eat dinner together, but now everybody's in the same household together. Everybody's looking for something outdoors to do, and golf has always been a social distancing thing, but you actually still get to go do it when many places around the country can't right now. But talk about how Tiger Point has been working with everything since the coronavirus hit, and I was out there this week. Thanks again for having me on the course. It was awesome. Had a great time.
Well, thanks for coming. It was our pleasure. Every morning we get out there and we bleach all the carts down, all the touch points. And then in between, when the golfer comes off the course and comes, the next golfer gets the cart, the carts are not only pressure washed and cleaned, but then they're disinfected with a bleach water solution to try to, maintain, them being clean and also, germ free. But on the golf course, we removed the rakes. We've added in foam into the cups so that way the ball will go into the cup, but it won't go far enough to where you have to pull the flag stick out. And then we've also removed the water coolers on the course. So we're doing all the right things. Everybody's riding separately in carts, all adults, with the only exception being a child under the age of 16 that can't drive. They can ride with their parent or guardian. But yeah, everybody's having fun, out on the golf course. Beautiful sunshine we've been having. Unlike some people that hit the ball down the middle of the fairway, I'm so far left or so far right that I'm so far away from my playing partners that I barely see them on the course. So, but everybody's enjoying. Tiger Point's in great shape. So.
Yeah, who said you couldn't lay in the sand? I did about 6 times on Saturday. But I will say, if you look, Trey, so many people are enjoying their time and in the world of golf. Part of the greatest Pensacola athlete of all time, we had some people weighing in, and a couple people text me afterwards, and they're like, well, that's not fair. You got, Jerry Pates going up against Derek Brooks. He's not going to win this. I said, yeah, and you know what? A 3-14 seed in the NCAA tournament is usually about a 15 to 20-point underdog when it comes to the tournament when Duke, I think, played against a team like Abilene Christian. It can happen, but at the same time, the reason why you're a 1 or a 2 or a 3 seed is you're expected to win. But when it comes to the world of golf, Jerry Pate has been an icon. He's been somebody that has done so much. His family grows up, lives here, has been such an ambassador for the community, part of the Florida Sports Hall of Fame not too long ago right here in our own backyard at NAS. Bubba Watson's, what they've done, the Boo Weekleys and Joe Durant, Slocums. But there's so many names. Trey, when it comes to golf and Pensacola, what has been somebody that you look at as somebody that means so much, and talking about some of the names that maybe everybody doesn't talk about on a daily basis?
Well, for Tiger Point, Jerry Pate did design and at one time owned Tiger Point, so he has a rich tradition at Tiger Point, and with all of the success that he's had, from winning the U.S. Open in his rookie year back in the 70s to going on to win 8 PGA Tour events and many more worldwide. And just the success that he's had with his, company, he's always, seen, in Pensacola, as one of the favorites. But it's hard to compete against 2 Masters championships in 2012 and 2014. Where Bubba Watson won. I can just remember that shot that he hit out of the woods on 10 in the playoff with a 50-yard hook shot, which was just amazing. So, Bubba Watson, with everything he's doing in the community now, from the Blue Wahoos and his shop down in Pensacola where you can get, ice cream with the family, he resonates, now as well. But, Boo Weekley, Joe Durant, they all come to mind. Joe Durant helped support the first tee out at Tiger Point with an annual golf tournament that we typically do in May. I believe it's going to have to be postponed this year with everything going on and not being able to have, big groups. So we will have to postpone that to a later date. But they're all, amazing in what they do, on the golf course and just around our community.
Yep, and having a chance, as Marty Stanovich does such a great job with the first tee and was a co-host for so many years, and glad to call him a friend. I know he works with a lot of the kids out there, and Tiger Point, one of the courses that supports it so much, and giving kids an opportunity to learn more than just golf, but life skills as well, and so many champions from the area. Trey, when it comes to golf, it's such a big part of the community, but so is our local teams. When you talk about the Blue Wahoos, Ice Flyers, UWF winning a national title in football, we've seen the Pensacola State squads and so many of our little leagues across the board as well. But talk about it, because I know you guys work with the Blue Wahoos as well. We're starting to see the positive things happening, opening up the beaches. The mayor said today that we plan on coming up this weekend where things should be open again outdoors, even though golf has been one of those social distancing type sports. We all love sports, those team sports like baseball. I know you guys do. We see you down at the Blue Wahoos game. Talk about what that means to you guys and personally to you living here in Pensacola.
Yeah, we're excited, and obviously, it's good to be cautious when it comes to the situation that we're dealing with. But I have a 4-year-old that's just getting the T-ball, and 2 nights before everything shut down, the Wahoos hosted the Tiger Point Sports Association out there, and from a 4-year-old's perspective, it was like a dream come true walking on the Wahoo Stadium field, and just have the parents seeing your child out there. It was amazing. So hopefully those types of experiences, can come back where kids can have their sporting events and people want to go see the Wahoos play at Hoosville Stadium, which is an unbelievable ballpark. If you haven't been there, it's definitely a treat. But the beaches opening up will be amazing as well. Obviously, being outside, being kind of not in a close proximity is going to do wonders for not just our locals and residents, but also for other people that love our community and want to visit and hopefully move here long term.
Speaking with Trey Childs, pro over at Tiger Point Golf Club. They're open right there in Gulf Breeze. Checked out the course this weekend. It's beautiful. People are out there, but everybody's keeping their distance. Look, I mean, golf is one of those sports, if any sport, where you can get out there and you can stay clear of people. Everybody goes in an individual cart, and it's safe. It's outdoors. It's beautiful. I mean, it was snowing last week looking at the highway in Chicago, and we're in 75-degree weather. Perfect time to get out there, and people are looking to get outside their house. Tiger Point is there for you. Great community, and you should get out there this weekend and continue with all the great things happening. Trey, when you talk about being a pro and playing to a level like you have in golf, I'm watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. A lot of people are saying, oh, man, he's rude to some of the guys, or he grabbed Dennis Rodman by one of those nose rings before he proposed in a dress to Carmen Electra, or the other stories that we don't need to get into. But if you look at Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or anybody from a Tiger Woods, there's always those negative stories because it takes a certain champion to get to that point, to be that good at what you're doing. When it comes to golf, and Tiger Woods and Jack and those guys, just talk a little bit about that, what it takes to be that good. Because, I mean, there's so many great golfers that I've had a chance to play with, but never seen guys elevate their game to that level. Who's one of those guys that you felt had that type of game, and what's the difference between being somebody when you teach lessons that you see that it factor for that wants to go the extra mile?
Yeah, so I was fortunate back in Atlanta to be working at a golf course where we had this high schooler that just loved the game of golf and wanted to be better, and he would wake up before school and come out and chip and putt before school, and then he'd go to school, and then he'd get done with school and he'd come back and hit balls for hours. Well, he went from somebody that just picked up golf as a 12-year-old to getting a full ride at Georgia Tech, making it on tour, and he still plays on the Korn Ferry Tour. But to see that drive from a player to just want to be better every day, it's pretty amazing. And from a golf perspective, you don't see what they have to do to get their bodies in shape. I mean, those guys wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, they're working out, whether it's running for miles on end or hitting the gym. Most PGA Tour professionals do some type of workout for an hour or 2, 3 hours before they go walk 18 holes and play golf. And the amount of determination and desire that they have to put forth to get to that level is just amazing. And they do it with the support from their family and friends, because for them to be able to spend all their time on getting in shape, studying the game, working on their swing, they don't have that much time for everything else that goes on. And you definitely have to be driven to make it on the PGA Tour. and we're fortunate that in our area we got 4 to 7 guys that have played really well and gone on and to do some successful things.
Well, I don't want to brag too much about my co-host here, but before the coronavirus hit, we were talking, and we do a lot of events at sports bars and places all around town, but he'd collected 19 straight days over 42 hours of golden tea. So he was sort of that same exact story that you were getting to, and just want to give JP a little credit here.
By the way.
Congratulations, JP, on that, by the way. It's I don't know if it's in the same boat, but it's just one of those heartfelt moments. Trey, when it comes to personally, how have you guys? I know you spend a lot of time around the course, but how are the kids taking it? And I've got a 4-year-old as well, so I know every day is fun because it sort of turns into a weekend at the house. I'm blessed to have a wife that was a first grade teacher and an awesome kick butt teacher. So she's got game plans every single day, lessons, and it's like school every single day. I'm the one that's getting detention and getting kicked out usually of class. But talk about just lifestyle and what it's changed for you.
Yeah, so my kids, I know my 4-year-old, he's loving not having to go to school every day, but I get a chance now to bring them out to the golf course. That 5 o'clock, 5:30 time period. Kids play free with a paying adult at Tiger Point all day long. It's typically a 3 o'clock program, but with kids being out of school, we've pushed it to any time of the day, 7 a.m., 5 p.m. And so they're getting out there on the golf course. And my 4-year-old loves golf. He can play all day, but my 1.5-year-old just likes to grab the golf ball away from my 4-year-old and run with it. So it's a lot of fun. You get to spend time with the kids when I get home from work. But with them being so young, their schedules hasn't changed too much like an elementary school kid or a high school or a college student. That their normal routine has changed drastically, and they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives. My 4-year-old, he may not remember it in a year or two that he had to stay home for 2 months, 3 months from school. But I know I'm enjoying getting out on the golf course and getting to videotape him playing golf at such an early age. And I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait till my 1.5-year-old gets there too.
Well, and I also want to make it clear to people out there, because I was out there in the course, and I picked up, and I grew up around golf, whether the ball was going in the woods or not. But I will say, one of the things, though, Trey, is with everybody using their own cart and social distancing, what it has led to is quicker rounds. Because think about it. How many times do you have a duck hook into the woods and you're playing with maybe grandpa who wants to have the ball hawk in somebody's pool, and then all of a sudden you're on the other side of the course trying to hit, and then you have to go pick him up and then go back across. Now everybody is going directly to their shot. They're moving along, and it gets to the point where I noticed out there that the rounds are going a lot quicker based on this. So for the people thinking in their brain that, everybody must be out there in the course, it's open, people want to get outside. Yeah, there's a lot of people, but that's a good thing, and it's also a thing where people are keeping their distance and it's moving quickly. So I noticed that in the course too, to let people know the rounds are going very smooth based on that everybody's in their own cart.
They are. The 4 people and 4 carts is definitely helping pace the play. And then the other thing is with, Tiger Point is fortunate. We have 72 golf carts at our facility. And so, in a 4-hour period, which is the normal round of golf, you have 70 carts to deal with, or 72. And so we have to block off, every other tee time. So that also allows for, there's some space on the golf course. So if you do have a groove that maybe a beginner, that does get off to a rough start, which, our first couple holes can start off a little slower. But once you get going, the pace should pick up because of the spacing, and then also, the individual carts. But one thing that I've liked is, we don't, Tiger Point, we haven't really pushed walking very much because there's a couple of places on the course where there is a distance of roughly a par 3 that you have to walk from green to tee. But now with everything going on, we've had a lot more of our members and a lot more of our guests wanting to walk. And from an exercise perspective, I think that a lot of people are benefiting and getting in better shape. And hopefully it's also helping their round of golf because they're not as tired when they come back and play that next round. They're used to putting more of a physical strain on their body while they're playing their round. So everybody's loving it. Obviously our staff did an amazing job this wintertime with course improvement projects, not only our irrigation system that we renovated, but also we did 5 or 6 bunker face renovations, greenside bunkers, and a tee box leveling, and then a bunch of just clearing work around our holes that are on the Santa Rosa Sound. You don't have that type of view at very few places, and then to add on an island green similar to the golf course in Jacksonville that Jerry Pate won at the Players Championship. You just don't get that experience. So we're having a lot of fun as a staff, but we're also seeing a lot of smiling faces on the golfer's face.
Speaking with Trey Lynch, right here, or Trey Childs, sorry, Trey, I'm looking at the bracket right here. Trey Childs, as we get set to go here for the second round, greatest Pensacola athlete of all time, and brought to you by our friends at Tiger Point Golf Club there in Gulf Breeze. Trey, I'm looking at the numbers here, and when it comes to the second round, we're pretty much set. We're in the final bracket right now with Fred Robbins and Michelle Snow, but Fred's got an early lead, and being a close friend right there at 3:30, he's going to find a way. I'm not gonna mess with him. But Roy Jones Jr. and Doug Baldwin. We've got Don Sutton versus Justin Gatlin, Derek Brooks versus Bubba Watson, and Emmett Smith versus Fred Robbins. Let's go through that right now, as it's going to be your guys' bracket coming up throughout the week here. Roy Jones versus Doug Baldwin. You got a Gulf Breezer right there in Dougie B. Led the NFL in receptions and touchdown receptions just 3 years ago with the Seattle Seahawks, going up against Roy Jones Jr., pound for pound, one of the greatest, and a guy that I'm sure has got out to Tiger Point and many golf clubs as a guy that's always around here local. Who do you like in that matchup? The 1 versus 9.
Well, I would go with Roy Jones. I think he will pull it out. Obviously, he's an amazing boxer. I don't think I remember him losing, but one time, I would go with him.
Okay. Don Sutton, Hall of Famer right here, a voice of the Atlanta Braves. You know him from being up there in Atlanta, against Justin Gatlin, at one point the world's fastest man, 4 versus 5 in the second round.
Being an Atlanta Brave fan, I would go with Don Sutton. I think he's going to pull through on this one.
That's going to be fun to see right there. Derek Brooks, this one is very intriguing as well. Derek Brooks versus Bubba Watson in the second round coming up here.
Yeah, I'm torn. Obviously being a golf guy, Bubba Watson would normally be my pick, but being a Florida State graduate, I think I'm going to have to go with Derek Brooks on this one.
All right, and the final one there, Fred Robbins right there, Super Bowl champion D-tackle versus Emmett Smith, all-time leading running back. Fred, him and his family, Mr. Robbins' neighborhood, so much they do for charity. Emmett, not as much, but the accolades speak for themselves. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, running back in NFL history.
Yeah. Emmett Smith, he used to hold a golf tournament out at Tiger Point back in the day before I was there, and being a Dallas Cowboys fan with my parents both graduating from SMU, and I got to see Emmett Smith in Atlanta playing the Buffalo Bills and back in the Super Bowl. I'm going to have to go with Emmett Smith on this one, even though it hurts me because last time I saw him, he was driving a blue Mustang in Tallahassee, and it didn't go very well for Florida State at that time. So I'm going to have to go with Emmett Smith on this one.
Well, Trey, I appreciate it. We had a blast this week out at Tiger Point Golf Club. It's a perfect place, amazing weather right now. Thank you guys for everything you do for the community, for being a sponsor here of ESPN Pensacola and our bracket challenge here for the greatest Pensacola athlete of all time. And we wish you guys the best out there. I know that you guys are doing an awesome job from starting with the kids out there at the first tee to everything you guys are doing to social distance and follow the rules, but still allowing people to maintain that health, get outside, get some sunshine, and enjoy their life. So thank you for what you guys do, and we're looking forward to the bracket this week.
It's our pleasure. Thanks again.
All right, appreciate it. Trey Childs right there. You can check out Tiger Point. He's the pro right there. Rick Wolf and the folks over there do a great job, and had a chance to check out the course, with restaurants, you got to sample the product. They went out there and did that. Someone's like, you just wanted a free round of golf, right? Now, you know what? Coming back for more. It was a great course. Looked awesome. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Yeah, I get it, you're an outcast. Always under attack, always coming in last. Bringing up the bass, no one owes you anything. I think you need a shotgun blast to kick in the
Rocking back here on this Monday. Every day feels the same. I could talk for 2 hours straight, not looking at anything. These notes are all fake. There's nothing on these notes. Look at this paper. It's got like one thing written on it. Just holding paper. Look important here. It's got a picture of my daughter's dinosaur in here. But I will say, though, that, talk 2 hours talking any sport in any social setting. But the second we try to find out what day it is. I have no clue. Today's Monday, though. It's usually easier after the weekend to know at least that. Over the weekend, though, we did have the NFL draft, and overall, I thought it went pretty smooth compared to what we expected. I mean, listen, these are a lot of people. It is easy for a lot of people that have been in the broadcast business to act normal in front of cameras and do things like that, dress appropriately, like this Patriots sweater that may or may not have a shirt underneath, but nobody needs to see this. But I will say, though, that a lot of people, they get in front of the camera sometimes, and they could have one of those like, JP, great to see you. It's awesome. And one of these guys speaks on behalf of like 50 hospitals around the nation. Then they get in front of the camera, and they're like, don't know what to do. When it comes down to the NFL draft, no, I was saying for the NFL draft, everybody did a pretty good job. Dave Gettleman looked a little awkward, but a lot of people overall. Easy, okay. Bill Belichick had his pup sitting there. He didn't want to be on camera. All those people. It was sort of a reverse. You think you're going to get me on tape? Ha ha! Here's my dog Nike right here. Sweet pup. Even had Bill Belichick's name
Nike,
underneath
by
it.
the way.
That was
Nike.
great. I know. Swish. His puppy dog. His
Oregon.
Yeah. Nike. He had a cat named Swish. But the little, it even had Bill Belichick's name with him sitting there.
Yeah,
He's like,
great.
all these years you thought that I got you on camera, you're going to get me back. Nice try. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Out of the draft, though, overall, who do you think had the most important draft overall? And it's easy to say at the beginning Cincinnati, based on Joe Burrow, but is there any team outside of that you feel that made the best moves to win now? I think Baltimore, personally, did an incredible job. Because they already – here's the thing, and why I say that with Baltimore is Baltimore already, to me, had the best record pretty much in the regular season last year. They had the MVP and Lamar Jackson in that style. And then you already took a team that broke the NFL record for rushing yards, and you add a piece to the puzzle already that was pretty solid. And they got – I believe they got J.K. Dobbins. Mm-hmm. So – you already had that. Then you have Patrick Queen and a couple guys that immediately can make an impact on defense. To me, in a division that's been going a little opposite way. The Steelers forever owned it. Then you had teams like Cleveland that you expected to be better with Baker, Cincinnati with Burrow, but those three teams are still figuring out who their identity is. And Baltimore, I think, got stronger. They always have good drafts, though.
But I think that the thing with Baltimore is how teams are going to change the outlook for going against that offense. Now, remember, a piece of that offense is gone. One of the tight ends is gone now. They were running 3 tight end sets, and all 3 of those tight ends were phenomenal. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I still think, I go back to it, the Denver Broncos. This is something where the Denver Broncos made I'm not a tremendous Elway fan, but Elway did a pretty good job of basically saying, okay, you know what? We've got a good enough defense, but I can sit here and try to go defense all I want to stop the Chiefs. We need to score points. That's how we're going to beat this Chiefs team. That's why when you look at the Super Bowl and the 49ers had the best defense known to man in what they did, but they got exposed. And what you basically saw now in this draft was a lot of teams just going offense, especially when you're going to have to play the Chiefs. And that's where, when you look at it, Jerry Jeudy in the first round, phenomenal. Jerry Jeudy shouldn't have been there, but he was because, the Raiders decided to take Ruggs, which to each their own. Then you go KJ Hamler, which is another steal right there. Then you look and you draft a center to help shore up that offensive line. You've got a tight end that you need in an absolute steal, I believe. I'm a big fan of this guy in Tyree Cleveland. There's just so many weapons now for Drew Lock, which Drew Lock is a pretty good little quarterback. I don't know if he's great. I haven't seen enough, and that team wasn't built good enough. But then when you look at the other pieces they have, now they have Melvin Gordon. They have other, the running back depth in general is just fantastic. You also have guys like Cortland Sutton out there already. So when you look at it, remember Von Miller and that defense is still over there. I think this was a really good draft for the Denver Broncos. And even with the 49ers had a good draft. They picked up Trent Williams, the tackle there from the Washington Redskins. I think that's phenomenal. Then you draft a guy like the defensive end out of South Carolina. Why can't I remember his name?
Javon Kinlaw, my favorite. That's stop, drop, and roll dad. Yeah,
I'm telling you, and the guy that his story is awesome. Was homeless for part of his life, and just the guys like that though. When I look at the 49ers did fantastic to shore up, but I gotta go the Denver Broncos just because they added so much speed. That's where teams right now, you look at it, that's Denver saying, we're not going to be able to stop them and beat them on defense. We have to beat them with offense. I think that's the way a lot of teams, when you look at the Chiefs and what they did, the 49ers losing the way they did to them in the Super Bowl lets you know that Chiefs team, you're not going to beat them with just defense alone. You better be able to score 40, 45 points on them.
The LA Rams basically took a lot of Pensacola or the area's favorite guys. Their first 3 picks, Florida State, Florida, Alabama, went with Cam Akers, which, look, that's
solid.
Not only is a solid pick, it was Florida State's only pick in the draft, but in this case, if you're a Florida State fan, you got to be pumped because he's going to get a chance to play immediately. They just got rid of Todd Gurley, and Sean McVay is an innovative mind when it comes to offense, and he knows Cam Akers. Look, Cam Akers deserves a lot more credit than he does for already putting up numbers that are pretty close to the Dalvin Cooks, the Warwick Dunns of some of Florida State's greatest years. He did that with a hobo line pretty much. And I'm sorry, these guys could all kick my you-know-what in, so I'm going to say this kindly, and they live pretty close in our area. So for college football, you were ranked dead last. I know I've said it.
It's too late.
I know 2 of them. They're coming at me. But I will say, even Tony Baselli's, his daddy come at me and just had the COVID too. He's going to be ticked. But I have to say, though, for Florida State, that was one of the worst offensive line. It was ranked statistically as the worst offensive line in college football 2 years ago, and Cam Akers was running behind that. And if he was given, think about Cam Akers, if his pathway, because he was a 5-star #1 prospect. Him and guys that we talk about, the ones that we all know the names early on, the Dylan Moses names like Jadeveon Clowney. There are names in college football that we know 3 or 4 years back. Heck, when they're 7th graders and guys like Nick Saban and Les Miles were back recruiting him. He was one of those names. He took Florida State. He could have been to an Alabama or a Florida or another school. And think about that pathway if he was running right now, where a guy like we see over the last couple years, what we've seen out of Najee Harris or what we saw out of Josh Jacobs or some of those guys.
That's
in that
who
position.
I compare Cam Akers to in the NFL, is Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
So the immediate impact he can have. And remember, Josh Jacobs wasn't exactly running behind the greatest offensive line in Oakland, but it's a guy that is consistent. He's a power guy. He also has the speed to get around the edge if he needs to. a great guy in the locker room, not going to cause you problems. Cam Akers was never a guy that caused you problems at FSU when there was nothing but problems. Let's remember that. And like you said, it's a guy that didn't run behind the greatest offensive line. Now, Josh Jacobs ran him behind a pretty good offensive line, but I think Cam Akers is a guy that stayed healthy. He stayed healthy enough. I mean, for what he's had to battle through, still a 1,000-yard back, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's the guy I look at. Josh Jacobs had a phenomenal year for what the Raiders did last year, what they allowed him to have.
Yeah.
That's where going to L.A., that's a great pickup for them.
And there's no sign that any running back out of Florida State has ever failed at the next level. Even the guys like Greg Smith and some of the guys that aren't your initial everyday type of back, or Greg Jones, some guys still, I'm just butchering names today. Greg Jones even gets his chance. When he was in Jacksonville and he took over carry, Pooh Bear Williams even got, I wish he could have played every day. He was my favorite guy. Nothing like an offensive guard just running you over back there. But I have to say, if you take a look at him and Jaworski Lane were my two favorite. Just going to run. The guys that on accident they fell, but they're going to get an extra 6 yards, and there's nothing you can do about it. Cam Akers, I think, is going to be phenomenal in that offense. And then Florida State, that was the guy. This year you're hoping that some of those returners like Terry making that decision could be huge for you. Then Florida, Van Jefferson in the second round. We had a chance to talk to him at the Senior Bowl when he was down here at Wahoo Stadium. Great guy. And then getting Terrell Lewis off the edge right there from Alabama.
He was also down there with us.
That was the only pick I really thoroughly enjoyed right there. That sounded terrible. But like, what were you doing there in the draft? Who uses the word thoroughly? But listen, you know what?
Well, Terrell Lewis was right there at Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Anthony Jennings, yeah, he was.
Anthony Jennings was too.
But that
all
was
those
our guy.
Yeah,
that was our guy, right?
Van
there.
Jefferson's the man. I love Van Jefferson.
For us to get Anthony Jennings that deep was pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah.
This conversation's gotten
weird.
You don't know football. It's gotten real sick, right? We're coming back for more Sports Drive. Thoroughly deep. It's football, baby.
Two Men in a Truck is the leader in all things moving. During this difficult time in our country, we're here to help you. As the movers who care, we're taking all necessary precautions to protect you, your belongings, and our employees daily. In Florida, moving is an essential service to ensure shelter or the delivery of supplies, and we're open to help meet all your home or business moving needs. For more information on how Two Men in a Truck is handling the coronavirus or to book a move today, visit twomeninatruck.com. That's twomeninatruck.com.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19. For your ESPN Pensacola Ridiculous Facts, I'm JP. At the 1900 Summer Games in Paris, live pigeon shooting was an actual event. The event actually entailed hundreds of pigeons being released in front of the competitors, who sat back and slaughtered them. I don't think that would fly today. In further proof that they don't make them like they used to, Cleveland Indians pitcher Ray Caldwell recorded a complete game against the Philadelphia A's in 1919. After he was struck by lightning in the middle of the 9th inning, Caldwell shook it off and got the final out for the win. That's your Ridiculous Facts. I'm JP.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you, and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Northwest Florida's all sports, all the time station. From Destin to New Orleans, sports fans come here for ESPN and local sports talk. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back. Final segment. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. You go to our Facebook page, vote for the greatest athlete of all time in Pensacola history, right there. Somebody asked, some of these matchups are not fair. Well, listen, first off, we had like 10 to 12 weeks we expected at least without sports.
Just vote.
And just vote. You know what? Get
vote.
Moving on.
Never going to be
Listen,
perfect. Dude, what do you want us to do?
We're not stupid. I mean, do you think
1
for 2
versus
seconds,
16, Roy Jones Jr. versus who? Emmett Smith?
Yeah, we're putting this thing out there.
Forget about it.
People are still participating and doing it. You know what? Yeah, could we just go, no. I'm feeling, okay, yes. Emmett? No. Oh, Roy Jones? No. Derek Brooks? And no, Bubba Watson. Oh my gosh, I did.
There we go.
Okay, you know
All
what?
right, let's break it down.
Let everybody else have that, that possibility of an upset and enjoying our time. So shame on all y'all.
Shame.
Got great sponsors and local people. We're having fun with it during this time.
Shame.
So shame on you. Looking at the shame, hate, like the Chappelle Show. I have to say though, in this draft, it pretty much, like I said, went down a lot easier than it could have out of all these people's households, except for. Roger Goodell really looked like he had enough at about when the way I liked it better out of Goodell, but the way he was sitting back in the chair, like kicking back, talking about M&Ms. A couple times he said something like he made a joke that wasn't funny, but he didn't care. I like seeing that side of him, the real Roger Goodell. Then he fired everybody in the camera crew for getting his bad angle. That's all the time we have for today's show. Thanks again for everybody back at Blab TV. I'm Chad Brillante for JP. Adios. Happy Monday. One day closer to something coming back. God bless.
Your salty skin and how it mixes in with mine. The way it feels to be completely intertwined. Not that I didn't care, that I didn't know. It's not what I didn't feel, it's what I didn't show. So let me be, and I'll set you free.
It's time for your ESPN Pensacola headlines. The NFL draft has come to a conclusion, and no doubt about it, Joe Burrow.
Quit talking like that.
Okay. Joe Burrow, number 1 pick overall. Thank you. You're like, I couldn't take any more minutes of that. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, Tiger King shirts already out there. I've gotten JP 2 of them. They're also legal and bootlegged, and he will be arrested. The other things from the draft that we learned is, well, a lot of quarterbacks didn't go as planned outside of the first 3. We know Burrow went to Cincinnati, Tagovailoa. They already got Tua Mania. It's ironic. They tanked for Tua in a way with the T-shirts at the beginning, but then they end up winning a bunch of games and even took a bye out of the Patriots' hands, so I didn't have to play your crappy Titans and felt salty about it. But they still got him. They still got Tua after everything at number 5. World works out. And look, and Nick Saban and Tua can always share that bond. This has not turned into headlines at all. Number 6, Justin Herbert went to the LA Chargers, but then it went really south after that as Jake Fromm goes in the 5th round, but Jalen Hurts goes in the 2nd round of the Eagles.
Jordan Love goes in the 1st round.
Aaron Rodgers. Hey, you got A-Rod and J-Lo now hanging out there. Yeah. There you go. Outside of that.
Yikes.
A-Rod's like, I'm still the quarterback. Alex Rodriguez still the man there.
Whatever. I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers.
Nice, happy marriage.
What? As long as he doesn't have to, he might get all the way to the playoffs next year and then say, you know what, Jordan Love,
go ahead.
Have at it against San Francisco. I'm not going through round 2. He did not want to be there. You could tell that. At least he got that wide receiver that I created on Madden Football for him.
Big Texas toast?
Big Texas is. 7'4", 99 speed.
Big old piece of toast.
Just salty. We took a Division II player. First pick.
They lost UWF.
Somebody pick up Quentin Randolph. He's too good. Quentin, if you're out there listening.
Free Quentin Randolph.
Yeah, get him a shot, man. He's champions.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Spain and Company on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
It's Spain and Company. Sarah Spain, Jordan Cornette with you on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Here's your SportsCenter headlines. The Atlanta Hawks were unwilling to immediately reopen their practice facility for limited player workouts, this according to the NBA, so they're pushing back their facility reopening date to May 8th. The NBA had been planning to reopen facilities starting with the Hawks because Georgia was one of the first states to loosen stay-at-home orders amid the coronavirus pandemic. Chicago Blackhawks fired President and CEO John McDonough, the team announced today. McDonough was hired by Chicago in 2007, was a big part of the Blackhawks Stanley Cups in 2010, 13, and 15. Patriots veteran fullback James Devlin announced he's retiring today after 7 seasons in the league. The 31-year-old cited complications from the neck injury that forced him to miss 14 games last season.